Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Officer Tatum show. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about the government shutdown, but one of the biggest things about the government shutdown is now they're pushing the Epstein files again. And it's not the Republicans, it's the Democrats. We're going to talk about the Syrian president coming to the White House after being a part of Al-Qaeda, which is absolutely insane. And I want you guys to see my interview with Sarah Adams about the topic. Trans nut job is in the bathroom again at Barnes & Nobles. We're going to talk about that, and a baby shower gets shot up like the 4th of July. Welcome to the Officer Tatum Show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning big, you might as well go on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like me on all the social media platforms, especially my Substack, trying to build it out. We have an Espanol channel for all your speak Spanish people that you know. Send them the clips so they can watch it and learn about conservative values, because they're not getting nothing from Telemundo now. Let's get into this. Let's talk about Donald Trump real quick. This shutdown, longest shutdown in American history, and now it is over. President Trump has signed a bill into law ending the record-long government shutdown, and we're going to talk about it here. First, I want to show you guys what the media is saying about it. Let's go to Ground.News. You can tap into my computer so the audience can see it. But Ground.News, obviously, if you guys don't know about Ground.News, it focuses on giving you balanced news with integrity. So when I look at any of these articles, I go to Ground.News and look at it and see what both sides are saying. At the very top is a synopsis, which if you're like me and you don't like to read a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and you want to get a quick Reader's Digest version, you can click at the top, and right here it says the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. This is kind of what they're focused on. The funding bill includes back pay for furlough. They're giving a reasonable perspective, but they're focusing on the government shutdown length of time and not really giving Donald Trump the credit I believe he deserves. When you go on the Republican side or the right side, it says President Donald Trump signs a funding bill at the end, and they're focusing more on President Trump's signing of the bill, President Trump's leadership on this bill, and that's pretty much what the focus is. You go down here, you can find articles on the left. Again, it's consistent with the synopsis where you see them kind of talking about the shutdown length of time. I don't think a single article has Donald Trump's name in the section, so they really don't want to give him credit. Although they blamed him, but they don't want to give him credit. You can look at the center, giving a balanced analysis, and then the right is also talking about Donald Trump. The first article, you can see they mentioned Donald Trump by name. Many of these other articles talk about Donald Trump. If you go down here, you see President shutdown is over. President Trump officially signs. It's focused around President Donald Trump, which I think should be the focus because he signed it into law. And then also the criticism came his way when the shutdown was going on and prolonged for the longest shutdown in history. And also, if you want to focus on a certain topic, which I think is important to be topical, so you're not just on the news, just randomly searching for stuff, you can go on and click some of these things on the side and make them your priority of focus. Make sure you don't forget the blind spot, which is here. And if you're on the left, you need to be paying attention to this. John Fetterman, he's going to be a Republican soon. But John Fetterman is saying a lot of things, and the left won't even talk about it. Look at that, 0% from the left in articulating this. And you go over here to the right, the same thing. Anything that deals with immigration or some negative thing about immigration, Republicans don't want to talk about it. I think this is a failure by our side to not cover everything. Even if it's negative, cover it fairly so people can see what's going on, right? You don't want to be in an echo chamber. You want to be in a cult where the only thing you look at is the things that are benefiting the Republican Party, because then what happens? The election comes and people are shocked. How did Mamdani win? Because you got people are not talking about the positive things that Mamdani is doing for the people that really want to support him. All we do is talk negative. There was a gentleman made a video not too long ago talking about the algorithmic structure that's on social media that's brainwashing people and getting people into a cult and not getting them real information. And it came up about Charlie Kirk. And they said one side of their family is seeing in the algorithm everything negative about Charlie Kirk, that he was a bad person, that he was evil against trans people. And then the other side, some of his friends only saw the positive about the Christian revival, about all the great things he's done, his legacy. And so people are literally arguing about one person, but only seeing two separate sides. Be complete in your study. Everything that you hear Brandon Tatum talk about, if it's about the government shutdown, which we're going to talk about a little bit here from Donald Trump and here from AOC, which is both sides of the argument, every topic, go to ground.news, look up the topic, and read both sides and verify, is Brandon Tatum being fair about this or Brandon Tatum is not being fair? I'm human, so obviously I lean more right, but that don't mean that you have to consume information only on the right. Make sure you get the Vantage program, which is the Vantage plan, which is the unlimited plan, which is the plan that I use so I have access to all the tools that they have to offer. We'll give you 40% off. All you got to do is click the link in the description section or go to ground.news/Tatum, ground.news/Tatum. All right, so let's get to what Donald Trump said about the government shutdown, which is historic, in my opinion, on both sides, right? It's historic because it was the longest shutdown in history, but it's also historic because we were able to get to the legislation or the law that Donald Trump can sign for us to open up the government, let people who were furloughed get their jobs back. And for all the people who did not get paid, and I want to clarify this real quick because a lot of people think that they don't get paid. Well, it's like deferred payment, meaning that the payment is still accruing while they're working. They just don't get the check until the government shutdown is over. Then they pay them back pay for all of that time they worked. I heard rumors, and I haven't been able to verify it yet, but I heard rumors that they got a $10,000 bonus for dealing with this whole shutdown thing put on by the government. Has nothing to do with the people, everything to do with these government people trying to leverage politics for the midterms. They try to leverage politics during the election. And let's play what Donald Trump had to say about the topic. Let's go to the first clip, clip 101. Roll the clip.
For the past 43 days, Democrats in Congress shut down the government of the United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally, from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort, the Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons.
And I agree with him 10,000%. They did it for political reasons. Why they couldn't? You got to think, this bill only goes through January the 20th. This is like, I don't know, 2 months or so. In 2 months, they're going to have to reconvene to sign for our government to be funded again. Hopefully, they don't shut the government down again. But now that we have their number, everybody can see what they're doing. They try to do this again, we're going to know. Republicans are going to vote for us to have a clean bill. Republicans are going to vote for the government to continue to run, and they're going to filibuster. They're going to try to find every way that they can to divert from what the American people need. It's crazy that they want to fund to the tune of trillions of dollars. I want people to understand this real quick. This is why we're in debt as a country. It's not because we give financial aid. The financial aid that we give to countries combined are roughly about 1% to 2% of our GDP. So we are leveraging our relationships with other countries to fend off places like China, places like Russia, all of these places that have a pretty large GDP, enough to influence other countries to go onto their side with trade, you name it, policies, you name it, tariffs. They would control all of it. People think we just fund countries because now when it comes to the, I forget the name of the term, when it comes to them using the government for these nefarious fundings, which is NGOs is what they're called. When they are funding NGOs that are doing nefarious things across the world to the tunes of hundreds of or tens of billions of dollars, That's what the American people need to be focused on, is saying we don't need to give money through an NGO for transgender studies in Afghanistan or something stupid. I think people have amnesia. We forgot about Doge and what they were able to discover. Those are the things that we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on that can be completely cut. They have no value for the American people. But when you talk about funding other countries, we have to have a sound mind. You start with this. You say, I don't work for the government. I don't know what the government knows. And if you have not talked to a person in the government that believes in funding other countries or supporting them, whether it's military or whether it's with financial aid or whatever the case may be, if you don't talk to them, then you don't understand the totality of circumstances. We've been doing this forever. Other countries do the same thing. I don't understand why people think that America is the only country that's funding other countries and supporting other countries and leveraging relationships through financial funding. We do the same thing with Israel. We dictate what Israel does because we fund them. If we did not fund Israel, they can do whatever they want to do. They want to attack America because we'll wipe them off the map. But they can do whatever they want to do. But because we're funding them, we have the leverage to say, you better shut the war in Gaza down. You need to come to a peace agreement. If you don't, what's the ramifications? We will cut your funding. Can you afford to have your funding cut? Can you afford to have $3.8 billion cut from your military spending? No, you cannot. Come on to the table and shut this thing down like I asked you to. When they want to go and retaliate against Iran in the strikes that we were doing that could potentially get them into a long-term war, what does Donald Trump say? Unlike the naysayers that get on TV and lie about Israel every day, they say, all right, we'll turn our jets around, we'll land them, because we owe a debt to the United States of America, and we've leveraged them with funding to where they're going to do what we want them to do. They have the military equipment that we want them to have. We have the technology and prominence. That's why we leverage with these other countries. That's why we pay money to Jordan, which nobody talks about. They're the second most funded country from our government spending. Second most. But this is like 1 to 2% of our government spending. Most of it is these entitlements, retirement, and these handouts that we give. Now, I'm okay with us giving people a hand up. At one point, when I was a young man, when I had my son, we were on food stamps for 3 months. So there is a need to have a little bit of assistance till you get on your feet. But we are bankrupting our country with that. Illegal aliens, 20 million of them. They need health care. We fund health care for illegal aliens to hundreds of billions of dollars. This is way more than we give Israel. We give them $3.8 billion a year, and they have to spend all of it in America. The people that are on government assistance that should get off their butt and go work, they got 5 and 6 kids on the government dole. They are spending trillions of dollars. We just saved our country spending trillions of dollars on illegals with Donald Trump and the Republicans holding out for the government shutdown. So let's get to AOC, because the left got to be silly. And this is what she has to say. Roll it.
First week back after 6 weeks, just how are you feeling about this event?
I mean, we have federal workers across the country that have been missing paychecks. We have SNAP recipients, millions of SNAP recipients across the country that, whose access to food stability was imperiled. And we have to figure out what that was for, because you had both the capitulation in the Senate and you have the refusal and the outright cruelty among House Republicans and the White House, who went to court to try to sue for their ability to deny people's access to food. This is the reality that we're in right now, and we need to act like it, and we cannot enable this kind of cruelty with our cowardice, period.
Should Chuck Schumer stay as minority leader?
I think what is so important for folks to understand is that this problem is bigger than one person, and it actually is bigger than the minority leader in the Senate. You had 8 Senate Democrats who coordinated their own votes on this, as well as you have 2 retiring members. Many of them are also up in several cycles from now, with the hope that people are going to forget this moment. And I think what's important is that we understand that this is not just a leader is reflected as a reflection of the party. And Senate Democrats have selected their leadership to represent them. And so the question needs to be bigger than just one person. We have several Senate primaries this cycle. I know I'm being asked about New York. That is years from now. I have to remind my own constituents because they think that this election is this year. We actually do have Senate elections this year. And my hope is that people across this country actually participate in their primary elections in selecting their leadership. Thank you.
If she wasn't a little hot, just a little bit, no one would listen to her. If she was ugly and fat, I'm just being honest, nothing against fat people. Look, they got Ozempic, everything for you now. You can lose a little weight. If she was fat and ugly, nobody would listen to her. I'm telling you. Even Nick, he was like, oh, she kind of hot, man. I want to listen to what she had to say. So he said fact. He did. The other day, he said she's kind of hot. So when you look at it, you say she don't really have a leg to stand on if she wasn't kind of hot a little bit with a little charisma. And that's why they picked her. That's why they selected her to run, because they knew she was charismatic and she could do it. But the biggest question is, and this is where I think the crux of all of this lands, is that they, after pretty much manipulating the American people, trying to, what did Donald Trump say? He said they tried to extort us. And after the extortion didn't work, what do they do now? They care about the Epstein files. I want you to think this through in your mind. Joe Biden was in office. They hated Donald Trump. They want to put him in prison. They charged him with all kind of the stuff. Obviously, he did no jail time because it's all bull crap. What do? They said nothing about Epstein files. They didn't bring it up. They didn't talk about it. They signed no resolution to be transparent with the public. And this is why I think Donald Trump didn't have really nothing to do with it, because they didn't even mention it while they were in office. They didn't even mention it during the election cycle, which means that if you didn't want Donald Trump to get elected, tell him how he's so involved in the Epstein files. It didn't exist. And now the Democrats seem to care about it more than Republicans do. Why? Because it's leveraging their party's identity. So let's go to this, because it's a big conspiracy, and I'm not a big conspiracy I don't really dive into conspiracies, but this is one of the conspiracies that are verified. Let's look at what what the Democrats tried to do real quick. Let's go to clip 205, and then we're going to go to, the young lady explains this very well. I'm surprised that she's not more popular than she is. I've listened to her. I follow her. She only got like 1,000 subscribers. Y'all should go and subscribe her. Maybe we'll put a link in the description section. She explains this very clearly at the motives of the Democrat Party when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, and Republicans are falling for it. Don't fall for this mess. Roll the clip.
Let's break down what happened today with Epstein, shall we? First, the Democrat members of this House Oversight Committee released these emails where Jeffrey Epstein said Trump was the dog that never barked, meaning he was never involved in these investigations. The emails blacked out this victim's name like it's some big secret, but we already know who the victim's name is. That's Virginia Giuffre, and she always maintained that the president was never inappropriate and extremely professional when they met. Then later in the day, the Republican members of this House Oversight Committee released documents that said Donald Trump never participated in the abuse of young women. The documents say he knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, but he never got a massage. Then tonight, 218 Congresspeople all signed a petition that forced a House floor vote. So now the leader, Speaker Mike Johnson, will force everyone to vote on the Epstein Files Transparency Act probably early December. If that vote passes in the House, then the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, would have to release all unredacted federal documents related to Epstein's case. They would only be allowed to leave stuff out related to victims' privacy, ongoing investigations, or national security. It would likely include flight logs, depositions, people he worked with, more emails. The House Oversight Committee has also already released 33,000 documents related to Epstein's case. So now we just have further evidence that President Trump did not do anything weird with these gals. If he did, Joe Biden would have released it when he was the president. We know that Trump cut ties with this dude around 2004. He kicked him out of his Mar-a-Lago club in 2007. They have not been friends. I think back in the day, Donald Trump saw the writing on the wall and kind of took a step back from Jeffrey. I don't quite know what Democrats are expecting to find on Mr. Trump, but hopefully if there are other weird, creepy dudes involved in this, they get taken down. I'll lastly point out that this is insane timing, seeing as the government just opened back up tonight. Could it all be a distraction from the fact that millions of Americans are really PO'd right now? Maybe.
All right, let's go to Tim Burchett. I think that's how you say his name, Burchett or Burchett. Now, he came out. I think we can go to clip 203 first. Let's go to Tim real quick. And Tim has expressed very clearly that if the Democrats really wanted to be transparent like they claim they want to be right now after the government is opened up, they're trying to leverage momentum, trying to make the Trump administration look bad, they would have supported Tim in a resolution to disclose all of the evidence that they claim that they have against Donald Trump or whoever else is involved. Roll the clip.
This upcoming bill to release the Epstein files?
Yeah, that's why I just put a bill up. I just tried to move it ahead because what you're seeing right now is what exactly is going to happen, going to continue happening. Everybody's going to pull little piecemeal portions. Sorry about that. I got to animate. I'm Southern Baptist. They're going to pull portions of it out, and they're going to try to fit their own little narrative. Both sides are going to do it. You all know it, and you're all going to feed upon it. Let's just get the dadgum bill out. Let's vote it out, and the Democrats oppose me on it. It's stupid. It's all about politics. It's not about taking care of young ladies who got abused, and we should take care of them. But there's a process in place. The Democrats have had it for 4 years and didn't do a dadgum thing. And you know if Trump was in that thing, Biden, the rest of them, Kamala Harris, I mean, he's the Antichrist to them. They would have already had it out. What you got?
Perfect. So you hear him say this. People are like, yeah, he's just talking to himself. Okay, this is him on the floor. 201. This is him on the floor. Roll the clip.
One from Tennessee, Rise.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on the Judiciary be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 4405 and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Under guidelines consistently issued by successive speakers, as recorded in Section 956 of the House Rules and Manual, the chair is constrained not to entertain the request unless it has been cleared by the bipartisan floor and committee leaderships. What purpose does the gentleman from Tennessee seek recognition?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker. We Republicans are requesting this unanimous consent. Are Democrats objecting to this request?
Chair reminds the gentleman from Tennessee that as indicated by Section 956 of the House Rules and Manual, it is not a proper parliamentary inquiry to ask the chair to indicate which side of the aisle has failed under the Speaker's guidelines to clear a unanimous consent request, as was stated.
All right, so they try to do the little shenanigans. He made the request. They don't want to support the request. Let's get to him articulating this on his selfie video camera 202.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC unanimous consent of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. They blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Here's the thing that I think is very bizarre. And Stephen A. Smith chimes in on this. We'll get to him in a second. But this is what I think is bizarre. What's so, like, I just wish that both sides would be transparent. What is it that's in the Epstein file? Because these people see it, right? I think they have access to it. They've read it. It just hasn't been released to the public, unredacted. But if you're on a certain committee, you will be able to see the information unredacted. So why aren't either side being transparent about what this is? A part of me thinks that we have Republicans who have spent years, and Republicans who are in office and not in office, people who are political commentators, spend years saying that this Epstein thing is just it's so much to reveal. It's so much there. We're gonna expose all these pedophiles and all these different things. And I honestly believe, I don't have the information. I haven't watched it. I haven't looked at it. But the character and what I've seen everybody do on both sides make me feel like it's really nothing there. It's really nothing there as big as people think it is. And that's why I think it's not a priority for the president, and it's not a priority for either party to release anything. 4 years Democrats had an option. They didn't release anything. Republicans now have in the House, they push shenanigans, but they haven't released anything. Well, like, I don't know if is it nothing there, the reason Republicans aren't prioritizing it, or is it something there and neither party really want to expose it because it's going to expose people on both sides? Yes, they like to use a little bit of shenanigans here and there to make either side look bad, but at the end of the day, neither side is being as transparent as we want them to be. It's one of the only things that I don't like that Donald Trump did and how his administration has conveyed this is that it's all smoke and mirrors. We don't know what's really there. Kesh Patel, Pam Bunny, and all of them swear that it was a lot of there, and they're going to expose everybody. Now they've backtracked. They're not showing anything. They're not telling anything. They don't give us any information. And the Democrats want to play it on their side to make Trump look bad, but they're not trying to give anything. They're not putting a resolution out to disclose everything, and the Republicans are not voting on it. I have not seen that happen. Let's listen to Stephen A. Smith and what he had to say. Roll the clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration.
Facts.
You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing? I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now. What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See? This is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, just so she wouldn't reveal their happenings with one another leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know?
Logical it is. Think about this. They didn't have to release everything. They could have leaked. They could have just released some of it that implicated Trump before the election, so he didn't get elected, and then they wouldn't have to release anything. Then they can put it away, close it out. They run the government again, and Donald Trump looks bad, and then they make sure nobody ever see the files that will implicate any of them. Why didn't they do any of it? It makes me feel like because there's nothing there. I wouldn't argue that the Republican or the Democrats are trying to save face for Jeffrey Epstein. So why would they be protecting who? It makes me feel like that both sides are playing us for a fool. The Republicans never saw anything substantial, and they're playing us. And then the Democrats, there is nothing there. They want to use it against Trump when they can. And when it's not expedient, they don't say anything about it. It doesn't exist. It's insane to me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these people fool you. When you see this trans bathroom thing, it's going to make you mad like the other video that I made. And then we're going to finish it with this literally Wild Wild West shootout at a baby shower. And this is why people of the melanin, I just really wish that the people of the melanin who are in high places will call this behavior out so we can see some change happening. But they act like this. And then behind the scenes, at the barbershop, at grandma and them house, they complain about their own community every day. And then in front of white people, oh, you better not talk, you'll sell out Uncle Tom if you mention it. This is a problem in our society. This is not just a problem with the black community, because when the black community struggles, the country struggles. When the Hispanic community struggles, when whatever community struggles, the country is struggling. How about we prioritize and care about this more than we care about Israel? Everybody got everything to say about Israel on both sides. Well, we're not talking about young people getting shot up at a baby shower. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Syrian president went to the White House. Do y'all know who the Syrian president is? I don't even want to say his name. I call him Lil Boo Boo. Jabubu or something. I don't know whatever his name is. That dude was a part of Al-Qaeda, killing American citizens, responsible for 9/11. Al-Qaeda took, the funny thing is they go, the Jews did it. Does it not count that Al-Qaeda took responsibility for that? Why would the Jews do it and Al-Qaeda takes responsibility for it. Are you saying that the Jews and Al-Qaeda are one and the same? The same Al-Qaeda that will murder Christians and murder Jews? The same Al-Qaeda that wish that they could take over Israel? Are we tripping? The same radical Muslim Brotherhood that has been giving the Middle East problems, even other Arab nations, they somehow partnered up with Israel to do an attack on America. I don't know how people make this stuff up. Let's get to the first clip. We're going to look at Al Jazeera's coverage of this. Look at this guy. He looked like a jihadist. We got a video of him. It looked like it's authentic. A video of him holding two beheaded people like this. He wasn't just a little kid that got swamped into Al-Qaeda. He was actively in Al-Qaeda doing crazy stuff. Roll that clip.
The foe who became a friend, a long-standing opponent of the U.S. beginning the process of becoming an ally. During a visit to Saudi Arabia, President Trump seeking out and shaking hands with the new president of Syria, a clear signal of a new era in relations.
There is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria.
In the capital, Damascus, crowds celebrated as they heard that President Trump had committed to lifting sanctions on Syria, just as they'd celebrated when, as a rebel commander, Ahmed al-Sharaa entered the capital in December 2024, driving into exile the man who'd ruled Syria for so long, Bashar al-Assad. And at the UN in New York in September this year, there was an astonishing meeting, as former General David Petraeus met the once Al-Qaeda-linked commander he'd fought in Iraq.
Please help us understand how you got from Al-Qaeda in Iraq 20 years ago to where you are today.
We were once on a battlefield, and now we have moved to a field of dialogue. Those who have experienced war are the ones who best understand the importance of peace.
In meeting the U.S. Secretary of State on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, the Syrian president continued to press for the lifting of sanctions. It's the U.S. Congress that has the power to permanently lift the sanctions, and President al-Sharaa will be asking President Trump to bring pressure to bear. For his part, Trump will be seeking agreement from Syria to join the US-led coalition against ISIL, the first step in loosening Syria's close ties with Russia. But from the moment the US reopened its embassy in Damascus, the Trump administration had a primary objective: for a new Syria to forget or forgive decades of conflict and sign on to the Abraham Accords to recognize Israel.
We need to start with just a non-aggression agreement, talk about boundaries and borders.
Syria was locked in conflict with Israel as recently as July this year, Israel claiming that Syrian forces were attacking Druze communities in the south and carrying out powerful airstrikes in Damascus. Despite the Syrian president agreeing to a ceasefire, the violence underscored the depths of resistance to Israel, and full recognition by Syria of Israel at this stage appears to be more of a US dream than a reality. The US once offered a $10 million reward for the capture of a man known then as Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. And in a world where this week he visits the White House as President Ahmed al-Sharaa of Syria, perhaps anything is possible.
Now we got the picture of him with the beheaded heads. I mean, the beheaded people, right, Nick? We don't want to put it up there because that's what got our interview banned, or our interview demonetized when I interviewed Sarah Adams. But it's a picture of him. It could be photoshopped. I don't know. It could be verified. I haven't seen anything that said that the picture was inauthentic. It looks just like that man with that beard. Everybody on the internet says it's him. Sarah Adams said it was him. He admitted he was a part of Al-Qaeda. Now, let me put this in perspective, because he did get a lot of pushback. Unfortunately, a lot of journalists in America don't push him back. He playing basketball and stuff at the White House. Let me be reasonable about this real quick. I see it both sides. I see it from people that fought in the war, people that had to deal with death and destruction, cost America hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe even trillions over a long-standing fight against Israel. I mean, not Israel, but the fight against Al-Qaeda. And to have peace may outweigh perpetual conflict. Two things I want to say. Y'all clip this for the people. Two things I want to say. One is, if Israel ran America, do you think that they would be okay with Donald Trump having the Syrian president at the White House trying to negotiate releasing sanctions in a partnership? They run America, remember? The Jews run the world. They have a huge conflict with Syria. When I was in Israel, we were on the Golan Heights. You could look across and see Syria. We couldn't go to Syria. They would articulate to us, and it was a very scary sight, that Syria at times will launch rockets over into the Golan Heights. That's why the possession of the Golan Heights for Israel was incredibly important. They have the high ground, they have military tactical advantage. But Syria would launch missiles over. As a tourist, when you were there, you could feel the tension of Syria being right over the border. Accusations of them killing Druze, them not recognizing the state of Israel. All of these things were afoot. Now, the naysayers and the conspiracy theorists are going to say, see, this is Israel's plan. You think they won't have peace with Syria after what Syria has done and what Syria has meant to the conflict in Israel and also in America, 9/11? This is an illustration, in my personal opinion, that they do not run America, period. Also, the second thing that I want to point out is that, is it worth the peace? All the warmongers are saying, we're getting into wars on Israel's behalf. We're getting into wars. We just, the Middle East. And Donald Trump has essentially made a decision, which is odd to some, me included, but maybe we don't understand the totality of circumstances or not being reasonable. If there is peace in Syria, that's more peace in the Middle East. That's less conflict with Israel. I don't understand how people have a problem with that. You don't want us fighting Israel wars. Donald Trump negotiated a peace deal, and I know it's got to do with money because you're going to hear it come out in this interview. But why y'all mad, though? Debunk your own conspiracy with the Israel thing, and then also the people that don't want to go to war. This should be a good gesture that we won't end up going to war with Syria and there's no more Al-Qaeda. And according to the agreement, which they may go back on, right? We've done this before. We go and support them. We give them funding. We do business with them, and then they turn on us. And before you know it, they got arms and military equipment, and they going after Israel, and then they doing all this, and we're in a war again. So hopefully this gesture will create a peace that is long-term. But I want you to listen to the Syrian president in an interview that he actually got pushback in 302. Roll the clip.
You were affiliated with Al-Qaeda just 11 months ago. You were designated by the U.S. government a foreign terrorist. You were actually on the wanted list. Times have obviously changed. Now you're playing basketball with military leaders here in Washington. You're meeting with President Trump. What has changed in the U.S.-Syria relationship? And then equally importantly, sir, what has changed about you in that time?
We talked about the future, the present, and the past, and so we talked about lifting the sanctions, and there was a decision at the United Nations at the Security Council to lift the sanctions on myself and other people as well.
Has President Trump raised with you, discussed with you, your own past affiliation with Al-Qaeda terrorism?
I think this is a matter of the past. Now, we did not discuss this actively. We talked about the president and the future. We talked about the investment opportunities in the future in Syria, and so that Syria is no longer looked at as a security threat. It is now looked at as a geopolitical ally, and it's a place where the United States can have great investments, especially extracting gas.
Do you, Mr. President, have regrets that Al-Qaeda carried out those attacks that killed 3,000 Americans?
I was only 19 years old, so I was a very young person, and it didn't have any decision-making power at that time, and I don't have anything to do with it. And Al-Qaeda was not present right then in my area. So you're speaking to the wrong person about this subject. We mourn for every civilian that got killed, and we know that people suffer from the war, especially civilians who paid a hefty price for the war.
Now, I pray, and I hope y'all would join me in this. I pray that this guy, no matter what he did, I hate to say this, God can forgive anybody, even that guy. Now, people in the military may have a different opinion. I need to bring some people on that fought in that war, and I want to hear what they have to say about this guy. And is there a level of forgiveness that's needed, or is this a hook? What do they call it? A bait and switch. He gets in, he says everything he should say. We've changed. Build a relationship with the United States of America just to get us in another war with him. But I pray that he does turn the corner. I pray that this can be a continuation of peace. At the end of the day, we want peace. We can't go back. We can't change what Al-Qaeda did. We killed a lot of them and a lot of their citizens. But we can't go back and change it. If we can negotiate a peace deal and they can be an ally in the future, they won't be a threat to Israel. They won't be a threat in the Middle East. And that's just one more country that wants peace and prosperity in a region full of terrorism. Let's go to another clip that I want to play of his welcome at the White House. And then I got a couple tweets from people who are frustrated and upset about this whole occurrence. Let's roll clip 303 first, and then we're going to do the two images after. Roll it. Now, I bet there's a bunch of Syrian Americans that are cheering him home. I think somebody said Allah Akbar. Y'all better cut that Allah Akbar stuff out. It's like a hate speech turning now. Or a terrorist cry. All right, so we got a little bit of his interest, but let's look at these tweets real quick. This person, Sarah Adams, whom I interviewed, and she was incredible. Y'all got to go watch that interview. It's got 1.1 million views, my biggest interview that I've done so far, even bigger than when I interviewed the Prime Minister. That thing got 80,000 views. People hated me over that, boy. But Sarah Adams' interview was incredible, and she pretty much alluded to the same things that I've said, and also impartially, because I didn't know where her stance was on Israel. She gave a clear articulation of what was really going on in Israel and the relationship between Israel and America in comparison to these nations that are Islamically ran. All right, let's go. They say Al-Qaeda's favorite picture is their jihadist channels today, or in their jihadist channels today. Yes, there's an American president saluting a terrorist. Heaven help us. Now, you can look at it two ways. This is reconciliation, or this is a means to another terrorist attack, and we've given them a pass instead of holding them accountable. I can see it both ways. Let's get to the other tweet from Sarah Adams as well. This says Abu Muhammad al-Jilani is not a former soldier. He is a terrorist who killed our soldiers. This whitewash is getting out of hand. Reminder, al-Jilani traveled to Iraq to fight with AQI. I don't know, is it Qaeda? They're Al-Qaeda forces. In 2003, he was not from there. He didn't step up. He didn't serve as a soldier in his own country. He chose instead to join a terrorist group that attacked Americans for jihad. And he will choose that path every single time. Wake the heck up. That is a legitimate issue. I think people should be paying attention to that. Is this another scenario where they bait and switch us? I want to go to Sarah Adams' clips, but I'm gonna hold off on Sarah Adams' clips. Y'all go watch the interview. It's the first part of the interview with Sarah Adams. Go check it out. She's going to express her thoughts and why she believed what she said in these tweets. We get into all of that in the interview. We'll link it below. Let's get to this transgender person in the bathroom, and then we'll finish with that drive-by shooting at a baby shower. You can't even, what was a baby shower party or something? You can't even celebrate without bullets flying. It's like that looked like Afghanistan. All right, let's roll the clip of this transgender person. Now look, bruh. Do you need me to hook you up with the barber? They'll shade all that off for you, line it up and everything. Why you got a mustache still? This is the thing. This is why these people are weird and they're crazy, and they wonder why people come at them for the weird stuff that they're doing. Because people don't take you serious when you claim that you want to be a girl and you got a mustache. It's thick too. The mustache thicker than mine. You know, you built like you play outside linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe the Oakland Raiders. I mean, they're not Oakland more. Las Vegas Raiders, because they trash. That person can probably be a linebacker for them and start. No, I'm just playing. No disrespect to the football players at the Raiders. I'm getting ready to go to that game on Monday night. Y'all going to lose to the Cowboys, but that's not my fault. It's your fault because y'all didn't prepare better. However, all jokes aside, why do you think it's a problem that women are afraid and feel violated by these wackadoodles that probably dressed up like this the day of just to have access to women's spaces, whether it's a fetish, whether they're doing something nefarious, or they're mentally out of their minds? Roll the clip.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm trans male.
Okay, well, okay, so you're a girl, because I felt very uncomfortable. Okay, you're a male in the girls' bathroom?
I mean, I'm born female.
No, it's not okay. There's
Wait a
little
minute,
girls
time
in
out.
there.
I didn't got even more confused. The person said I'm trans male, said they were born a female. And now I'm confused. What are you doing? If you were born a male, you keep your mustache and you're trying to convert to a female, right? No. Yeah, they're trying to convert to a female, right? Hold on, wait a minute. Go back. What this fool say? Because I'm confused now. Roll it again. He said he's born female.
Okay, you're a male in the girls' bathroom?
Hold on, go back a little further, because the woman hit him up and was like, "Are you a male?" And the person said, "Yeah." Roll the clip.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm trans male.
Okay, well, okay, so you're a girl, because I felt very uncomfortable. Okay, you're a male in the girls' bathroom?
I mean, I'm born female.
No, it's not okay. There's little girls in there.
No.
Don't tell me no. I have First Amendment rights. Unbelievable.
I don't mind talking to you.
There's all little...
So I was at Barnes & Noble a little while ago, and I was in the bathroom, and I came out of the stall, and this dude's in there putting on his lipstick, and I got scared. My heart sunk. And so I left the bathroom, waited for him to come out, and as you can see in the video, I questioned him. I'm like, I still don't know to this day. Is that a chick? A dude? I don't even know. But the fact is that if I felt nervous as a grown adult woman, I can't even imagine what a little girl would feel like. So, you know what, guys? I have nothing against these people. Let them live their life. But you know what? You should not let your kids, your girls in the bathrooms alone. I think there's a reason that these people don't go into the men's bathroom, because I don't know. What do you think would happen to them if they went into the men's bathroom? But what's more concerning about this video is this woman who came not to my rescue, me, the woman whose rights were violated in my own bathroom that said women, but she came to his rescue, rubbing his arm, telling me to stop and telling him it's okay. It's not okay. We need to do something about this bathroom situation. It's not okay. Think about the little girls. I'm an adult. I can handle it. But little girls, that's scary stuff.
Think about this for a minute. Let's keep it on the camera up there. Y'all heard it correctly. This person was born a woman and is converting to being a man. Like, that's even crazier. Like, you're a woman. You're trying to transition to being a male, but you still dress like a woman and going into women's bathrooms. Like, if you're trying to be a man, put some pants on. You got out here that's more committed than this. This because they playing. They playing in the middle, y'all. This person was born a woman, and that's trying to convert to being a man. This person isn't born a woman trying to stay a woman. So they're taking hormones to grow a mustache, but then dress like a woman so they can go into the women's bathroom on some freaky weird stuff. And listen, why you got to have the things on your head? Why do you got bunny ears on? I don't understand what the bunny ears mean. If you are a man or born a woman and you're a woman, just dress like a woman. But if you're a woman trying to be a man, dress like a man. And this is why people are confused. This is why this woman is confused, because it is weird, because you don't know what people are doing. Are they trying to be weird? Are they trying to sneak peek? And we've had people go to jail over this stuff. They're in there videotaping people, hidden cameras, trying to get a sneak peek to get in the bathroom and young girls, access to young girls and women. If you're trying to be a man, I'm assuming that you're a man attracted to women. So you dress like a woman just to get in there. In your other walks of life, are you dressing like a man because you're converting to being a man? And a woman go up to the lady, to whatever this person is doing, don't know if they freaky or doing something weird, don't know if they have done something weird to this woman. And they immediately go, oh, sweetie, this person can be a serial killer, all they know. And they going up to the person that's the most awkward and weird and that's out of place to console them and treat the other woman bad. The actual woman that's in the women's bathroom. And this person still can't even describe what they're doing. Are you non-binary? What are you doing? That's all I'm saying. Make a third bathroom or something. And then all the weird ones, you go in the middle and go in there and shake it out if you got to or whatever you're doing. But anyway, let me finish with this because I got like 3 minutes left. I'll save it for tomorrow. I'll save the clip for tomorrow. We'll talk about that baby shower shootout in a minute. And it's not even like the shootout itself is not even just the craziest part. The craziest part is the reaction of the people in the house that's getting shot up and nobody even know why. Then you see ladies coming out the back room with handguns. Then you see a dude come out with an AR. Like how is this at a birthday party? We shall find out tomorrow. God bless you. God bless America. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47 is the top.